What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be breaking down the trade that led to all of these different profits here in the Discord server. As you can see, it was on Nvda. So let's talk about Nvidia, what the setup was, why it made the watch list, and then we'll get into the trade itself. So the setup here on the daily chart time frame is a break of this downtrend trend line and then this upward channel. Not really much of a setup here other than it's been consistent in doing two things, creating higher lows and creating higher highs. So going into today, understanding that it has been on this recent uptrend and seeing that it was rejecting the 50 EMA previously, I was looking for a continuation higher, right? The higher high above $441. I wanted to see the break of the 50 EMA. I wanted to see if we could get some more momentum out of this stock. So off of the day trade watch list itself, Nvda was posted right here as a long idea above $442. Now, what made this setup extra sweet is that we had a gap up this morning. So I'll move this now to the 5-minute time frame, and this gap up is further confirming our upward momentum power, right, with the stock. So we were already looking for higher highs above, what was it, 441. Well, now all of a sudden that changes because of the pre-market high itself being higher than the previous day's high of day. So again, for that reason, Nvda was a long idea above $442, right at the pre-market high. We had a slight pullback, and I love this setup because we know that there's an ebb and flow to the market, right? Things don't just continue up forever. There's typically the move up and then the pullback and then the move up and then the pullback and then the move up and then the pullback, and then that's that ebb and flow for you. So if this looked any different this morning with the gap up, I probably would not have liked the trade as much. For instance, if Nvidia had gapped up and was opening right under 442 without any sort of pullback, then the opening move, the opening expected move would be the pullback, right? To continue that ebb and flow with the market. But we already are getting that pullback in the pre-market, which again is what made this setup extra sweet. So opening move, what happens? Well, we know it's a long idea above $442. We don't trade in the first 5 minutes. We get the rally up above 442 and a slight pullback to 442. Now, we could have taken the trade early, but we want that extra confirmation. I'm not trusting Nvda after this first green candle because it's known for big moves. This could have easily, on this second green candle here, could have easily fully retraced back down to the low of day. So what I wanted to be sure of was that this was going to continue to push, and it did. Now, I was thinking in my mind, again, there's that ebb and flow in the market, right? If this is going to continue to push and going to continue to confirm the move topside for us, then we should get a pullback. Doesn't always have to happen, but we should get a pullback. Realistically, we could expect that, right? So we're staying patient on this. I'm going to move to the 1-minute time frame. We're staying patient on this, and we're looking at this and determining, well, where could we get an entry? If we know the long trigger based off of the day trade watch list is at $442, then that becomes also our stop loss point, right? And we ideally want to try to get the entry as close to 442 as possible. However, in this scenario, we have intraday resistance up here at 444. And what we know to be true is that a stock, if it's uptrending, each prior resistance should become a new support. So in this case, or this scenario, the pullback all the way to 442 might have meant that the stock was reversing in that instance rather than putting in those higher lows and continuing up. So again, this old resistance at 444 now becomes our new support over at 444. So if we move now into the alert room and scroll up to the alerts that were called out, the only thing mentioned was Nvda in the morning session because it was the only thing at the time that was breaking the trigger level with extra solid confirmation. So I give you at 9:39 a.m. loaded Nvidia long. So I'm telling you, I'm just loading the contracts, no position yet. I'm looking for a pullback entry somewhere, but here are the contracts. And I remind you, no entry yet, because at this time, 9:39 a.m., the stock is pressed way up here into high of day. We don't want to chase the move, right? We want that good pullback, low risk entry. So we're waiting. And then at let's see what time, 9:48 a.m. Nvda trying long entry here. And I do mention with smaller size. So I'm not into this position with a full size because I'm still thinking maybe there's a chance that this doesn't hold, right? Maybe there's a chance that this does dip down to 442, and our risk reward here is kind of skewed a little bit. So from 444 up to the high of day 448, we're looking at a 0.6% move. Not a whole lot of profit there that potentially could be offered, but we're also looking at a 0.5% stop loss down to 442 because that would have been the stop. So the risk reward there was a little skewed, and I wanted to mitigate that risk by taking a smaller size entry. So that's why I did what I did. But again, time stamping this at 9:48 a.m. is going to be right here on this green candle. Now, typically I say we want to try to take long entries on red candles, right, as the stock is coming down. But mind you, I was looking for confirmation first out of this. I wanted to see some sort of bounce confirmation that this was indeed going to hold here before I took my entry here. Because if it wasn't going to hold, then I could have gotten a lower entry down at 443 or perhaps right back at our trigger level at 442. Right? So it's just a matter of kind of mitigating risk and also just looking for extra confirmation. We do start to get this green candle off of $444, and I don't enter at the top of this candle. I think it's maybe halfway through. I take the entry, so not bottom ticking it, not getting the perfect or the best entry possible here, but one of the best. And from here, it's just trade management, team. So we're holding through the consolidation. I'm kind of walking you through. I said I don't want to risk too much on this trade, but if we get a high of day test, we should be able to get a 20% gain. And then I'm telling you, if you want a tighter stop out on this trade, you can close on a break below 443 or 444, right? So you don't have to give this room all the way down to 442 because what I initially mentioned was that was my stop. And I was going to look at potentially averaging into this trade as it was pulling back, but I didn't need to because we didn't get that pullback. So it holds 444 the entire time. We get a break of this downtrend trend line here, and then the rally up, big volume candle into the high of day, and I wound up closing the position. So now up 10%, now up 15%, and I went ahead and closed took the profits there at about 15% gain. So yes, I did miss out on a bit more profits. I would have had to held through some consolidation here to get the move up into the high of day. Contracts did run 20% plus, and there were quite a few members here in the profits channel that wound up getting over 15%, right? Few of you getting 20%. I think a couple of you nailed 25 and 27%. So a couple of you probably had better entries than me, or maybe you held a bit longer. So congratulations on that trade. But the reason, again, why I took profits where I did was because Nvda pressing up into the high of day like this, high of day is always going to be a potential point of resistance, right? So if we're seeing an initial rejection here at the resistance and then the candle up, I wanted to make sure I'm selling and taking my profits into the strength rather than, chancing this giving us a rejection at the high of day and then coming back down. So 15% gain, though the contracts, like I said, ran well beyond 20%. If you got a better entry than me, then great. Or if you held a bit longer, then great. Okay, that's it. That's the full breakdown for the Nvda trade. Team, I hope that the breakdown has helped you out. If you haven't done so already, press that like button for me. It's free to do, and it's the best way to support this type of work and information that I put out. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, highly recommend that you do that as well. I put out great information on a fairly consistent basis, and I don't know any other traders out there that's putting out info like this. All right, thank you for your time. Again, take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and good luck trading tomorrow.